everyone, it is Pepper from Pepper Scraps, and I have Crystal from Tidbits of Experience with me, and we are hosting a live Hangout on Air for bloggingtidbits.com. So today we are talking about how to plan your editorial calendar. And if you are watching live, make sure and say hello down below because we definitely want to say hello. And we set up the Q&A, so you should be able to ask questions this time around. And the way I understand it is that there should be a box on the right, and you should be able to ask your questions there. Feel free and chat there too. I don't mind. So, how are you doing today, Crystal? Crystal there?
Yes, I'm here. I was trying to see what the Hangout looked like, but it didn't let me do it.
And if we seem a little off, it's if you try to go to Blogging Tidbits or Pepper Scraps this morning, they are both down. The data center that my host uses is actually being attacked at the moment. So this is me being trying to be calm while I'm anxious to see if my site will come back.
And I'm anxious because I just found out that something I added to my site is taking away my Google Analytics business. So now I'm not getting any traffic records of all this wonderful traffic I've been getting. So I'm a little upset about that.
So it's been a fun morning. So if we seem a little off base, that's why. It's already been really crazy here. And actually, I guess it's afternoon for East Coast, right?
Yes, it's 12 o'clock here.
That always throws me off.
Does me too. Why do you think I always try to get you hooked up with me at 10:30 in the morning instead of 11:30?
I know, she pinged me at 7:30 this morning for me, which is okay. I was already awake, but it's like, I get that a lot because my work is the same way where I work with a lot of contractors across the United States. And so I'll get pinged at 4 a.m. and it's like, I'm not working yet, but that's okay. So we're talking about editorial calendars, and if you're part of the Blogging Tidbits group, you know that we've been working on time management, so we'll be talking about that as well, which will be really fun to see how you guys how that helps you out. So far, I think a lot of people have really been enjoying the challenges in the group. And just so you know, it is invite only for the group at this point. If you're interested in being part of that group, you can go to bloggingtidbits.com to get a holding spot for an invitation. And that is when the website does go back up. So,
yes.
So what was our first topic? Oh, holidays. So when we're looking at an editorial calendar, you definitely want to look at your holidays. But even I have started, I try to plan ahead. And I think that's one of the hardest things as a blogger is how to plan ahead for holidays, because you should be just like the stores where you need to be like out and sharing stuff way ahead of time.
Yeah, you took my point away.
Well, why don't you share about it? Because we were talking about the stores, right?
Yeah. One of the things that I've been starting to do is when I go to like Target or Walmart or Kmart even, I'll go in and I'll take pictures of all the different things that they have displayed and what their top sell items are for all the upcoming holidays. That way, if I get the opportunity to work with these wonderful companies, I can already say, I already got this picture, I got this picture available to me. And that makes a big difference.
That was like a tip that I had never even considered doing. Like, of course, the stores are always way ahead. They know when people start thinking about the stuff, and that's why they put the stuff out. I've also watched other bloggers, so when I see other bloggers start posting stuff, I realize, oh, I should be posting stuff. But that doesn't work for me because that means that I don't have the content created yet. So I like your idea of having kind of watching how the stores are doing it.
Yeah. And that makes a big difference. And should you random post for a holiday is another big question. And that's something we still haven't figured out what the best route is to go with. Because a lot of bloggers do brand it for the holidays because that's when it's the evergreen content every year. But in the same token, a lot of these crafts, for example, somebody made Valentine's Day do-it-yourself hearts. It was Trisha on Mom Dot. And it was a great craft for Mother's Day to make a little crayons crafts for their mothers to have as displays and stuff like that.
Yeah, I ran into that because when I did my Mother's Day gift, I was like, this would be really great for teachers, which is actually another thing that's coming up right now is teachers' gifts. And I was like, I didn't want to brand it for Mother's Day because I want people to think about it for teachers or birthday gifts or things like that. So you do have to think about, is this item going to be just for that holiday, or will it work for multiple holidays, multiple times of the year, and then weigh the pros and cons of branding it for a specific holiday. Right. One idea that I was considering, I think that I talked to you about it, Crystal, where I considered, so I did a seed kind of craft for Mother's Day. Like I said, it was going to be a great gift for teachers also. So one of the thoughts that I had was to make sure my permalink didn't have Mother's Day in it. Put Mother's Day in the title for Mother's Day, but then change it for like teachers or just take the Mother's Day out later. Now that is a lot of work, but
yeah, it is. But in the same token, I can see why you would do that.
Yeah. You know, actually, I just realized, you know what a great way of doing this also might be is I have a Mother's Day craft category in my blog. So if I created a teacher's category in my blog, like a teacher's gift category, then I can point people to that whole category for when teachers and that kind of holiday is coming up.
Yeah, that's true.
How far ahead do you plan for holidays?
Well, I'm trying to get in the habit of planning a month ahead, at least. And I was actually doing really well when my mother-in-law was doing the crafts with me. But she has had health issues, so she's had to slow down quite a bit. But it was actually helping us stay ahead because she was planning crafts ahead of time. So it was making my mind run, okay, well, how can I relate to this craft to our vlog and stuff like that with everyday life? But
and I think this is where I'm running into troubles. So are you planning on posting at a month ahead, or are you creating content a month ahead?
You actually, honestly, I start creating content and start reaching out to companies to get the products to review. Like, for example, we work with Oriental Training. We have to start in January working on Easter. And
wow.
That way, come Easter time, the month before Easter, I've already got the crafts done. I've already got the photos done. I've already got the products in my hand to review. And then I start scheduling them out a month before Easter.
Okay. And see, I think I'm struggling with, I think I'm struggling with this because I was in that niche for, I was niched for so long, and now I'm switching over to lifestyle. And so I'm just starting to do crafts and stuff on my blog. So I'm not used to planning this stuff ahead. So I still have a Father's Day gift thing that I need to video.
Yeah, and it needs to go out now because now is the time that people are looking for Father's Day gift ideas.
I'm trying to decide, should I just skip like 2 months of holidays and just jump ahead to catch myself up, or what I should do? I'm trying to decide that one.
Well, that's a really tough question, I mean, because when you've already got content scheduled out and you already got a plan made, it's kind of hard to throw those extra little things in that are right now available. And that's the whole concept, is what we're trying to teach everybody, is to plan ahead. Plan your content so far ahead that you can still have, you plan out 3 posts a week ahead for the month, right?
Yeah.
And then that way you have opportunities for sponsor posts or other product reviews that you want to take advantage of that are due right now.
Yeah. So I've actually been considering, on top of my editorial calendar, I want to make a creation calendar. So where I actually start planning out when I'm creating things.
And that will help you out a lot, especially for the food bloggers. And I'm learning now that I'm starting to dip into the food blogging atmosphere, but you have to plan that out. You have to plan, okay, you got to have the grocery money, you got to have the pictures done, you got to have the recipe done, and you got to be prepared in case the recipe doesn't turn out worth a dime.
Okay, and my top hint for people who are trying to do food blogging, don't make it for dinner. You know, it's a dinner. Don't make it for dinner, or leave leftovers and photo it cold. Because you don't have good light at night. Even like, I think, unless you have a really good lighting setup, you don't have good light at night. So honestly, I cook a lot of our dinner meals for lunch in our house.
Right.
So that way I have good light, I can photo it. Now, now that the season is changing, I can start doing it for dinner, but that's what I would recommend for winter is plan your dinners for lunch.
That's a good tip.
Yeah. That's like that took me a while to get used to. So that there's always new things. Like now I'm learning how to deal with all these crafting things where I'm supposed to be like 6 months ahead. You are always learning.
Yes, blogging is a forever changing atmosphere, and there's always some little tidbit that you don't remember or you don't realize, and they're like, oh, you can do this way. Oh, that works great.
And let's see. So where do you find ideas for your blog? When you're filling out your editorial calendar, where do you get inspiration?
I get it everywhere. I'm one of those that is constantly thinking of an idea. A quote can come on into radio, or a song can come on, and I'm like, oh, that would go with this idea, or whatever. But most people get content ideas from magazines. Sorry, excuse me. Walking through stores, other bloggers, even Google alerts within their niche, and setting that up. And that's a very big thing. Is Google alerts will keep you up to date as far as what's current content, what's hot right now on that topic, and that way you can jump on that board and that bandwagon and get some of that traffic too.
And maybe what we should do is we may, for the group, we may actually share how to set up those Google alerts, because it can, it's been so long since I set mine up that I would have to relearn how to do it. But I'm sure that a lot of you guys haven't done that. So maybe we'll share a video on how to set up Google alerts.
I can do that. It's simple, but it's very, very beneficial to do it.
Yeah, and they kind of hide it. I feel like they kind of hide it. Like, you have to know that it's there. It's not something that they advertise or share.
Yeah. So. There's also another one that Dan Morris recommended, which was Trendsetters. That's also very similar to Google Alerts. So that's just another idea.
Yeah. So let's see. I use magazines. Like, I used to always get magazines, but I don't get magazines as much. I would use magazines for ideas. That would be a great brainstorming thing, is to actually sit down with a couple magazines and just look through them and see the different ideas. Now, you don't want to steal ideas. You just want to get some inspiration for ideas.
Right.
If you see how someone's doing something and you think, oh, man, I could do that and in a completely different way, I can make it way better or make it way easier, or things like that. And then you could even still credit them if you're still kind of taking some of their instructions or ideas, then you do want to credit them. That's very important. So another place that I use to get ideas is Ahology, is a pinning group app, and they have a great calendar out there, and so I can go through that. But then I also go through the subjects that they talk about, and then I look through Pinterest and look through all the different ideas, and what are other bloggers talking about, what's missing in that niche. Recently I was looking at something, I don't remember what it was. It was some kind of craft that I want to do, and I was looking for how to photograph it, because that's another thing. I go to Pinterest to look to see how to photograph it, and I realized I must have really hit onto something, because nobody else had photographed it.
Wow.
It was bacon wrapped burgers. Remember, I was trying to find a photo of that? Which bacon and burgers are so hard to photo, especially since I'm low carb. I can't put it on a bun. So I was trying to see how other people photoed it, and nobody else had any. And I was like, okay, well, obviously this recipe is something unique out there. So that's a good way of seeing like how many posts are out there about it too.
Yes, that is. Does anybody have any questions in regards to how we get content ideas and how we plan out our post? Because I noticed that we have a few people watching, but I don't see any questions yet.
Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free. You can post them there, or if you're having any troubles with the Q&A, you can open up the event page and post in there, and we'll watch for questions in there. So far, I don't see any questions. I see Kim Smith has joined us, and Diana Barch has joined us. So we have some of our favorite viewers watching.
And we appreciate you.
Yes.
You asked, what do you do if you miss posting on a holiday? So in other words, you have an idea and it's great, and Mother's Day came and went, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Now that can kind of go with the idea and the concept of turning it into a regular craft or a regular gift idea, or you can just wait and just post it and then schedule it for the following holiday. That way it's ready and already ready to go live. Or you can do both.
Yeah, because that goes back to my question of, should I just skip a few months and just jump ahead so that I start creating things? Another way I was thinking about doing it was creating a post for this week, but also making sure that I'm creating a post for 6 months out.
Right.
You know, to try and start filling out my scheduled posts. So, and
that's a good idea.
Yeah, and here's the other thing about, like, you can also go through your old posts for inspiration and find your old posts and see if there's something in there that you want to revise, update, and then repost it. And I actually do that in my editorial calendar. Is I actually try once a week to repost, because I have 8 years of posts, so I have a lot of posts out there. So I go through and I try to do a repost every week, and that fills in what I have on my blog. It makes me update the photos and the SEO and all that kind of stuff on some old posts that definitely need it. So that's another way to get inspiration, is to look through those old posts.
Yep. We have a question. Diana asked, do you ever schedule stuff and then realize it's not relevant any longer? Well, my personal answer is, when is something not relevant? Because really, there's always somebody who can benefit from what you've written somewhere down the line. But that's just my personal opinion.
And maybe she's asking the same kind of question that we were asking, as far as, like, if you missed a holiday.
Right.
And I was thinking about it. Even if, I think before when we talked about this, you said that you would post them. Would you post them or just schedule them post next year?
I would post them as just like a general post and then schedule them as a holiday post next year.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I actually, like, some of my stuff, my crafts that did really well, I had people pinning them a month after the holiday.
Right. Because they could see a benefit to using it later on.
Yeah, I think I got, like, a lot. I think I'm still getting hits on Easter posts. So I don't know if people are looking at it as something that they can use for a different holiday, or if they're still, like, they see it on Pinterest and they're like, hey, I love that, I'm still going to pin it so that I remember it next year.
Yep.
So.
And Kim said I'd just skip ahead and make it easier, which I don't blame you. I would too. Life's hard enough as it is trying to be a blogger sometimes.
Oh, it is very hard to balance everything. But you just keep working on it. And I was thinking about it. This is totally off topic. We have somebody in our tribe that was really discouraged, because how long has Heather been? Hopefully she doesn't mind me mentioning this. How long has she been blogging?
Not very long. When we first started our tribe.
I don't think she hit a year yet.
No, it hasn't.
And she said that she was really discouraged right now. And so I was thinking, wouldn't it be really awesome if we kind of have a encouragement post once a week or something?
Yeah.
Because I think blogging can be really hard. And that's why we wanted to make blogging tidbits, was to help bloggers.
Right.
Because it can be very hard, it can be discouraging, and it's so hard to get to that 1 year mark. But I think if you get to that 1 year mark, you start seeing the growth because now you're overlapping, right?
Right.
Your analytics are overlapping. You can see how much you've grown from last year, things like that. So
You can even see how well your blog posts themselves have changed. I mean, your
yeah.
blogging changes a lot the more you get used to it.
Oh, well, that's why I'm revising all those old posts. I'm looking and going, oh my gosh, I can't believe I used that photo. Or
Right. And that brings us to, how do you become a consistent blogger? I mean,
oh,
that's
okay.
a great point there. I mean, when you're starting out, you don't really know what you're doing. You don't really know where you're headed. And sometimes it takes that year to get your voice, to get what you really want to get out there. Shoot, I've been blogging for 3.5 years and I still have yet to figure out exactly where Tibbetts is going to go, because Tibbetts has grown with us as our family. And now it's turned into a family blog. So it's amazing how blogging can just revamp. And when you become a consistent blogger, in my mind, I think of, okay, consistently writing on a consistent basis, social media on a consistent basis. And it's hard to do that when you're trying to become active in so many other avenues and growing in so many other avenues, and also grow your blog. Like, we have some people that are working. One of the things that I used to do is have a creation day, and I still do when time permits it and everybody else permits it. On Sunday, I will sit down and write out a whole bunch of blog posts and get them scheduled out for the week. And that is such a refreshing feeling to get ahead like that and be scheduled in advance, because it gives you a chance to go back and make those edits, make those little tweaks that you really didn't catch the first time you read it, or do marketing even more throughout the week. What do you think, Pepper?
I agree, because I think also, because I have actually decided that I need to do the creation day thing, because I spent yesterday doing tons of crafts because I have a huge event coming up tomorrow and I need to get some crafts done. Well, if I had actually planned it out, I could have had my camera ready. I could have actually used that all for content for my blog, but I'm so hectic right now with this event that I didn't actually video it all. But I spent the whole day crafting, and I'm like, I really need to just do this, where I have one day a week or every other week where I sit down and just do tons of crafts.
Mm-hmm.
I think last month I spent some time and was working on my social media, and we saw that because our tribe, we show our growth, and I ended up being the big grower for the whole everything, Instagram, Pinterest. I had all the top numbers, but you know what? I didn't blog that week.
Right. So you can see where your focus is at, where you spend your time. That's where you're going to get the rewards.
Yeah, so it's definitely a balancing act. You have to do both.
Right. And that's where all those extra social media tools that we told you about, and we're trying to give you the time management and the chance to use this editorial calendar, is going to come in handy to help you get ahead and get ahead of the game. So you have that comfort level to work with each day.
Yeah. And I think a good editorial calendar is like the biggest must-have tool for blogging. Don't you feel like it?
Definitely. And I used to go fly by the pants and just write whatever went across my mind, and then I started learning from other bloggers and working with other bloggers, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that no more. It don't work.
Yeah. Now, the only issue that I have to figure out is that I write things down in my editorial calendar to I'm going to post this, and then I don't post it. So I need to figure out how to. That's why I write in pencil.
Yes.
I keep having to move them. I've actually seen, have you seen some people actually make their calendars with Post-its?
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, maybe I need to just switch over to Post-its because I keep moving things. And that happens because you have life happens.
Mm-hmm.
You have, like I said, I have this big event this week. I got invited to do it. It was kind of a last minute thing, but it was a sponsored event. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And then it ended up being a lot more work than I realized. So I don't have a lot of blog posts going up because I'm all focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
So where are we?
We are considering doing roundups for holidays.
Oh, okay.
This is your big one.
So one of the content things that we had talked about in the group was doing roundups. I think we talked about, or maybe it was just me and Crystal.
We talked about it briefly.
Yeah. So one of the ways to build to have content is to have some easy posts that you can do where you don't have to spend a lot of time writing. You may think a roundup post is a lot of work, but I have like this whole system that I do to create roundup posts. Now, the rules with roundup posts, because they've changed over the years, it used to be that you'd go to blogs and you would take their picture and put it on your blog and things like that because bloggers loved their stuff shared. Well, now you have to be really careful with copyright, and some bloggers are very particular. They don't like you taking their photos. So you need to make sure that you have permission to use their photos for a roundup. And I have a few different ways that I get those. There's I want to say there's at least a dozen groups in Facebook that you can join where you can ask for content for roundups. And you can just post that you're looking for this kind of content. So let's say teacher gifts, because I'm going to be working on those pretty soon. I am looking for teacher gift crafts for kids to make, and I would like to be able to use one of your photos in the post, and I would like to use it for the collage, which I'm sure that you guys have seen those kind of posts on Pinterest where it has the collage of pictures. If you're using another blogger's photo in that, you need to make sure you have permission to use that. So the other way that is becoming popular is to have you can actually make a custom search engine with Google. No, Crystal, you said you haven't made one of those, right?
No, I have not, but I would love to make one.
Yeah, we were actually talking about it. We need to make one for the group because these are awesome. So basically, you create a custom search with Google. They have a whole setup where you basically plug in certain websites that you want to search from. So there's a couple groups, I want to say Kid Network Bloggers has one. Yeah, and you do have to be a member of them to use it. And basically, all the bloggers have agreed that they're okay with their photo being used for the roundup and their photo being used for a collage as long as you linked back to them and you didn't use any of the instructions. That's another thing. You have to make sure you have all the rules that those bloggers want. And so I go onto those search engines and I put in what I'm searching for. So I put in teachers' gifts, or I actually might put in Mother's Day gifts because some of those were for teacher gifts. And then I can go through it's just like a basic Google search. It has all the images, all the information for the blog post. And I go through those blog posts and I check out which ones I want to feature on a roundup. I was trying to do these once a week. I'm now doing them every other week because I've been really busy lately and with my graphic design. So my blogging schedule has slowed down a little bit. But those are super popular on Pinterest. I've had a couple that I've gotten almost go viral. So people really like that. And then on top of it, what that brings out is I have people who love that I featured their blog post and they come and visit. And they share my stuff.
And that brings up the blog love thing.
Yes.
Another idea is that the favorite Fridays or something along those lines, featured Fridays, there's a bunch of different ones that are out there that are being used. But you could go through and you could highlight once a week or something, or even once a month, your favorite blogs that you read. Excuse me. The favorite blogs that you've read that are in relation to your niche or your topics that you cover, and post them on your blog. And then that way they're seeing that they're getting featured on your blog each week. And they're more inclined to share your blog post too because they're featured on your blog. Say, hey, I was featured here, and they're excited about that. And that way you're not only just basically talking about you, but you're also talking about other blogs that are in relation to you, and they might end up becoming benefit your reader as well. That was always big for me when I did those. That was a big traffic generator.
Yeah. How did you do yours? Did you like just link to them and then make a comment?
I would just like whatever their blog was about, say it was about potty training a kid, I would link to potty training the kid and then just go into what they talked about and why their blog was so beneficial to me or whatever.
Okay. So you did share like a little blurb afterwards after sharing
Right.
the link.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think there's like a few different benefits for that, because that adds one more thing you can put into your editorial calendar that's actually pretty simple because you're already browsing other blogs. It's connecting to other bloggers, and also it's a great way of thinking about, like, you can see if you have comments and stuff about one of the posts that you share, you can see what people were really interested in that you shared.
Right.
So it can help you figure out what should you share more on your blog.
Yep.
Those used to be really, really popular a long time ago. And I think when it's hard, there was like this change in blogging where it used to be you just did it and everybody thought it was great. And, you know, it was that whole blogger community. And I think the change was when people started questioning Pinterest. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
People started questioning, is Pinterest okay because they are using my photo? It's my photo. And
right.
copyright and things like that. And then people started thinking about copyright more. I think maybe also what it wasn't necessarily even just what was going on with Pinterest, but also because images were so prevalent in Pinterest, people were taking them.
Mm-hmm.
And so people, I think the bloggers became more sensitive about that.
Definitely.
So, yeah. And, so I totally forgot about this. So one of the ways that I build my custom searches is I look for bloggers who have a image disclosure information on their blog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Explain it more.
Okay. So a good example of this is Mom Dot, right? She has a disclosure on her sidebar that says, I love if you would want to feature me. Feel free and use one photo from my posts, and please link back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of bloggers have started adding those, and I even have that on my blog. So I have like a whole thing about if you want to use one of my photos in a roundup, I give you full permission on I think I have a full page that just says what my rules are. Like, I want to make sure that you link back to me. You can't use ingredients and you can't use instructions. And so that way they have to click through to me to get that information. But I'm happy if you want to use a post. So a lot of bloggers are starting to add that, and that is something to consider. If you want to be included on roundups, include a disclosure, a photo disclosure on your blog to let other bloggers know, hey, I'm okay with you using one image, and make your rules. And because being included in a roundup can be really beneficial.
Yes, it can. It's like being featured on Linky almost, but even
Yeah,
bigger.
I think it's actually even better.
Yeah, that's what I just said. It's even bigger.
Oh, okay. Because I have a few people that have featured me, and my posts get really good hits sometimes. I don't always get a benefit from it, but it's enough of a benefit that I decided to have that disclosure on my site so that people knew. Because sometimes it's hard to contact you.
Right.
Or, like, I just don't have the time to email bloggers to ask them if I can use a photo. So I try to find bloggers that are already given permission or are part of those groups, or MomDot has their own custom search that I don't know if she's adding new bloggers to it. I don't think I'm listed on it, and I've asked a couple times, so she's not updating it. But there's a good amount of bloggers on there that have given permission to other forum users to use their photos for roundups.
Yep.
Did we share at last hangout? Did we share our editorial calendars? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, we did.
We did. Okay. So, did we have any questions?
No, we just had a comment. I have a friend that does 5 on the 5th, 5 blog posts you love from the last month posted on the 5th of the month. Then she does a link up so everyone can share their favorite 5 blog posts. And I asked Diana to share that within our Facebook group.
Okay.
We need some questions, people.
Link ups are a good, I don't do link ups. I have in the past. Do you do link ups?
Yes, I do.
What is your link up?
Oh, I don't post a link up, but I go to do link ups.
Because that's actually
I have over 200 link ups.
Yeah, because that's another thing you could add to your editorial calendar, right? That you could, if you need to fill in some spots, you could add a link up.
Yeah, you could ask to add a link up. There's a lot of link ups that actually want co-hosts with them. Actually, they're taking on co-host.
Oh, I've seen that lately. So basically, they have a link up, but they want other bloggers to share it, right?
Right. So basically, they're going to add you into the mix as being a featured blogger doing link ups. And a lot of bloggers actually, when they're first starting out, join these link ups and become a co-host in order to increase their traffic. In fact, I've considered doing it myself again, but it is time consuming because when you do these link ups, they actually want you to go visit these blogs too that actually link up. And some of these link ups can get 300, 400 blogs a week. That's a lot of blogs to go visit in a week.
Oh, yeah. If that was me, I'd probably say I'd go to the ones that caught my eye.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
So that's one of the downfalls to it.
Okay. But I mean, that is another easy content thing to add, is to have a link up. They are hard to build up though too, if you're doing like a brand new one.
Oh yes. And on top of that, you got to find one that really will catch the eye of many. See, there's not a whole lot of link ups for broad topics. There's do-it-yourself, there's recipes, there's even marriage, there's homeschooling, there's all of those. There's even giveaway link ups galore. But I've got over 200 link ups in my thing that I do every week. But there's not very many link ups there's one link up for product reviews. One. And look at how many bloggers do product reviews and giveaways. Imagine how much success that would get.
That's true. I can understand it though, because some product reviews I'm not.
Right, you're not that interested in, but.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I visited one. I did one or something years ago. And, I think it was like a comment love thing where I was like visiting bloggers.
Right.
And looking at their site. And one was a review of a product. And I'd actually used that product before. And it was a horrible product. I was just like, no, I was like, that's actually a really bad product. I mean, what do you say at that point, right? I'm supposed to comment on their blog, hey, that's a horrible product.
I have a product review on my site right now. It's live and it will never go away. That the company treated me well because they knew I was a blogger. They did everything I asked because I was a blogger. But come to find out, the way they treat their customers is not that good. And there's like 20, 30 comments from readers who've read my blog post. That's not right. They do this, they do this, they do this, they do that. Those comments are still there. That blog post is still there. Because I feel like, the people who come to my site, yeah, you may see that I got treated great by this company, but look at all these comments that say otherwise. So I think those comments are very important.
That's true.
In my opinion. Because, I mean, as bloggers, yes, we get to review products, we get to see them, and we get to review services and stuff like that. But sometimes marketing, the businesses treat marketers different than they do an actual customer.
Well, it can be different. It's different people in the company,
Right.
The PR marketer, the PR people versus the customer service can be in
Totally
different.
Right. And not only that, but somebody can have a wonderful experience with the company and another person can have a terrible experience with it. It's just like any other business. I mean, that's normal. That's to be expected. But when you have 25 people all coming back saying, oh, this isn't good.
That's very true. I was just looking at that. Like, I was searching for some information for my host, and I saw some people who were like, oh, they're horrible. And I'm like, I've been with them for years.
Right.
There's always those people that had bad experiences.
Yeah, and that happens. But that's one of the things that I feel like every blogger should take into account. If you have a bad experience, yes, there are companies that will sit there and tell you don't ask, don't write about the bad experiences, but you need to. You need to address that. You need to talk about that. Now, granted, I go directly to the companies myself personally, and I talk to them and say, hey, look, this is what happened. This is what I feel. Do you really want me to post this live, or do you want me to just leave it alone?
Yeah.
And most of the time they fix the issue, and then I can go ahead and post about it. But other times it's a case of, okay, well, be as honest as you can be. So I do it. And that's where it comes into. You have to be true to who you are at the same time as being a product reviewer. How do we end up on that topic?
I don't know. But actually, this could lead into a really good editorial calendar topic.
Yeah.
Having sponsored posts on your blog.
Yeah.
I personally have made the decision that I really don't want to have more than one sponsored post per week. And so I think that's something that a lot of people, like, once they start getting sponsored posts, they're not sure how to balance that out.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific?
I am trying to get it to the point where there's no more than 3 a week. But that's also because I do 7 posts a week usually. On average, I do 7 to 10 posts a week. So for me, 3 is not that bad. But if I was only doing 3 posts a week, I don't want to have one sponsored post once every 2 weeks. Because you want to have more regular content than sponsored content.
Yes.
And see, I didn't learn that trick.
Yeah, actually, some sponsors or some networks will require that you have a small percentage. I want to say it's 1 to 5. Like, they have specific percentages to sponsored posts to regular posts. So you need to really consider that when you start getting your sponsors coming in and products coming in, there's a few ways you can go about it. If you get a lot of content in one space of time, just be honest with the PR people and say, hey, I have this spot for you. This is when I can put your post in. And it may be a month out, and just let them know. That's the other thing, is to charge more. Because, and that's what I do. I specifically, because I only do 4 posts a month, I let them know, hey, I don't do a lot of reviews, and they appreciate that because they know then their content's gonna get seen. And I let them know I only do so many posts a month, and so this is my rate, and this is why, and that you just have to remember to do that. Do you do that?
See, that's what I'm actually trying to work my way to that point. I'm thinking about removing several ads off my blog completely and just do 1 sponsor post a month. I'm trying to get up to that point where I can do that.
When you talk to sponsors, do you talk to them about that now?
Now I'm playing in the waters, so to speak, right now. Because I still have, the blog still basically feeds our family. The blog keeps us alive right now. So it's a case of, I feel like I have to chase the money, but yet in the same token, I don't want to have sponsored content all throughout the blog. I don't.
Yes, because that can hurt you in the long run.
And it has hurt me. It really has, because I did that in 2014 towards the end when Dell was getting so sick and he lost work. And he literally was in the bed, and he's been there for months now. I was literally chasing the money just to keep us afloat. And that ended up costing me over 10,000 page views a month. That's a big hit, and that's a big hurt.
Yeah, and so it will hurt you in the long run. So make sure when you're looking at your editorial calendar, we've talked about having specific days of the week that you have certain posts that you post. I try to make a certain day of the week that I do sponsored posts. So when I look at my editorial calendar and I have a company contact me, say, hey, do you want to check out my product? I will say, okay, this is when I have this spot available. That makes you look more professional too. I mean, when they know that you aren't just gonna hold it, because let's just face it, there's some bloggers out there that'll take the product and they'll still post 6 months out. And so some of the companies are very wary about sending out a product without having a date.
Right.
That it's gonna get posted. So I'm up front and say, okay, I'm out this far with this, and so this is when I would post your content. You know, another thing we should talking about sponsored posts is talking about, like, my big season is coming up where I need to start looking at back to school. School hasn't even ended.
But we have to plan for back to school because everybody's going to be looking for ideas starting in June. It's amazing how many readers start looking at back to school ideas, like how to get your homeschool, or for me, it's how to get your homeschool area ready, and what homeschool curriculum are you going to use, and
this needs to be part of your editorial calendar, is to know when to pitch companies.
Right.
So right now is the time to start pitching companies for back to school, because you got to remember it's going to take them a while to get back to you. It's going to take some time for you to get the product. It's going to take some time for you to review the product, and you need to do the product before back to school. So when you're building your editorial calendar, you want to put in Christmas. Christmas, a lot of bloggers do holiday guides, right?
Yeah, and the holiday guides need to go live in November.
Yes, and holiday guides go out in November. So that means you need to be pitching in summer for holiday guides. So, you know, I would almost make a separate calendar for when you pitch people, right?
Oh, yes. And keep contact information.
Yes.
Keep a file for contact information. That's because that's going to become vital, because some of these contacts you will work with 2 or 3 times. Even I got one contact that I work with constantly. I've been with them for years.
Yeah, keep the contact information, and, you know, because I actually just was talking to a friend. Now, here's the other thing about that, though. Be aware that some bloggers can get a little upset if you ask them for contact information.
That's because they have that one-on-one relationship with that PR representative. And a lot of PR representatives do not want their information out there.
Yes. So there is an etiquette of not asking other bloggers for their contact information for PR people. And just be aware of that. So a good way of finding contact information for a company is to go to their website and look for press. You are considered press. Look for their press contact, their PR contact, or just if they just have one contact them and let them know that you want to contact their PR department. I think, and then if you have mom.vip, they actually have a whole section where you can talk about contacts for PR people, right?
Yes, you can. And there's also a how-to tutorial on my YouTube page for getting PR information.
Oh, is there? Okay. That's awesome. So when you're building, I think when I need to rebuild my editorial calendar, because I need to add the section about when to pitch companies. I need to add a section about when to create stuff. So you almost need 3 calendars. Am I crazy? Yes. How many calendars do you have, Crystal?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
How many calendars do you have?
I use this one, my editorial calendar on my desk. I had just got this one in the mail. I use this too for keeping track of what product reviews need to be done still. I just got this too. Let's just say I have several. And I have Google Drive.
Just asked us a question about that because she said that we both have paper calendars, and she uses the WordPress dashboard. Let's see.
I do too.
The WordPress calendar in my dashboard, and I've used that also. And so here's what has happened for me. I am the exact same way as you, Kim. I hate writing things down. My handwriting is not neat. I get frustrated looking at my handwriting, and I feel like once things get messy, I don't want to use it. But this beginning of this year, I decided, okay, I'm going to try a paper calendar and see how it is. And it ended up being the best calendar I've ever had because I've used apps, I've used plugins, I've used everything. And the issue with using the WordPress calendar that I ran into is I do love that I can put ideas for blog posts in there and then I can move them, but I've run into some problems with that at points. But also I can't write notes. And I can't write down if I've done any shares on it. So here, I'll show you my messy calendar right now. Let's see if you can see it. So look at it is messy. It is not clean. I'm using pencil, and I try not to use pen like I use there because I do have to change a lot of stuff. And you see, let's see if we look back. You know, you can see I don't have very neat handwriting. It is kind of annoying, but I can write notes. And that's what I found is the difference between having a computer-based app or plugin versus a paper calendar. And like I was just talking about, I almost need another calendar because even in here, let's see. I'll show you this calendar. So, where are you? So here's my monthly focuses. So I already have a calendar in here that I write my monthly focuses. And I can't do that in the WordPress calendar. I can't put down what my focus for the month is. I can't write down what my weekly focuses are. So I can't have those available when I'm putting posts in unless I have it written down. And then it just became, well, why don't I just write everything down? And now I almost want to create a calendar kind of like this calendar here, where I write when I need to pitch a company and when I need to create the content, because that's what I'm running into is I have tons of great ideas in my editorial calendar, but I don't have like deadlines for creation. And so I'll hit the deadline for when that blog post is up and I don't have it. So what do I do?
Yeah, I know that feeling all too well.
Do you hit that, Crystal?
I have hit that many times because I'm still learning how to do this crafting and the cooking and all that aspects, because that's a new area for me altogether.
Yeah. Have you found a solution?
Not yet. I'm still learning.
Kim said that my handwriting looks exquisite next to hers. Well, I actually specifically try slow myself down when I write in there. So I probably, if I went into my to-do list, you'd see my nasty handwriting where it becomes almost unreadable. But I do try to do it slowly in there. And I'm one of those people that I must be OCD. The reason I hate doing it in pencil is you can't erase it perfectly.
Spin it in
I can't
circles.
make the paper white again.
Go in circles. Go in circles. It erases better when you go in circles.
Well, even when I do that, like, I mean, you can't get paper white again.
No, you can't.
No, did you know actually a lot of artists will sign their paintings and all that kind of stuff with graphite first because you can actually never get the graphite out.
Huh, that's pretty cool.
And so they can permanently mark their paintings and stuff. That was one of those art history things I learned in.
I wish we could permanently mark our blog post images like that across the board.
Yeah. So that is a big issue. And because even like on Facebook shares and stuff, I am very hesitant. I've seen people take bloggers' images and use them, even though they're linking to those bloggers' blog posts. Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Because images do better on Facebook, and that's why they're doing it. But on the other hand, I'm kind of like downloading someone else's image without permission bugs me.
Understandable.
So, that's the artist in me. So, but I did try. I tried all different kinds of calendars, apps. I'm still, and I'm one of those people that I get a to-do app, and it works for me great for like 2 weeks, and then I see it, and I see all that stuff, and I start having anxiety about it. And so I was like, okay, that is not working for me. Another reason I hated paper is because I can't carry it everywhere with me, and that is one reason I did pick a smaller binder for my editorial calendar. Is it does fit in my purse.
There's a Staples thing similar to that I did a review on. That's really neat. You can actually take in and add things in and add things out. I have to look it up, but it's really helpful too.
Yeah. Do you take your calendar with you, Crystal, to places?
Sometimes. Depends on where I'm going, what I'm doing.
Okay. Yeah, I need my calendar to be portable because even though I don't get out of the house very often, I need it to be able to take it to other places. So I need to be able to have it in my purse, like if I'm going to an event, things like that. So I think having it portable is also important to me. So we're coming up to 10 o'clock my time.
Yeah, we're coming up on that too.
So, and 1 o'clock your time, which means it's time for us to close out. I hope everyone had a good time.
I hope you did too. We answered at least some of your questions. I didn't see any more questions pop up, but we enjoyed having you, and we love having you in the group.
Yeah, so I'm Pepper from pepperscraps.com.
And I'm Crystal from tidbitsofexperience.com.
And once the site is back up, you can learn more about bloggingtidbits.com on bloggingtidbits.com. So, bye.
Bye.